Hi everyone, John from LookSmart Home Inspections right here in New Jersey. My client's not able to show up today, so what I want to do on this house, this is a 1953 Cape Cod style house. I just want to take you guys sort of on an exterior inspection. I can't take photos or video of the whole home, but I can show you some of the defects and sort of the methodology that I use to inspect the exterior of a home. This is not a very large house, but at least you guys will get an idea of what we look for on the exterior of a home. And the exterior inspection is very important. I think that, you know, next to the basement or crawl space, probably the exterior inspection is one of the most important aspects of a home inspection. And of course, the attic is also important as well. So the exterior, basement, crawl space, or the attic are probably the most important aspects of a home inspection. Those are the areas where we're going to find the majority of the problems. So let's start. We'll take a look. I'll try to find some defects for you guys and just sort of give you an idea of some of the things that we look for. I mean, certainly every house is different, but we'll take a look at this one and see what we find over here. So generally, I take a look at the driveway first off. And the driveway is going to have a life expectancy, if it's an asphalt driveway, about 25 or 30 years. And here we see a lot of cracking, some low areas where water, can collect in the driveway. So we're going to write this in the report, indicating that this driveway in a condition like it is here is going to have a limited, further life expectancy. Now, this is not a humongous problem, but it is something that we want to make sure that our client understands is that near-term replacement of the driveway should be expected. And this is an asphalt driveway. And over here, they've put some gravel right over here to sort of expand the driveway over to the right side. And so the gravel area also can create areas of a tripping hazard, can retain water, and just make it a little bit more difficult for snow removal. So when the driveway is completely finished, all of this will be asphalt and have a nice taper away from the garage, and that's kind of what we want to see. So one of the things certainly that we look for during an exterior home inspection is the condition of the driveway. Another thing we look at on the exterior of the home during our exterior inspection is the condition and the location of the trees. So out here we have 3 trees that are quite a distance from the exterior of our house. So they don't really create a problem for tree limbs overhanging the home or tree roots that are going to impact negatively the foundation. And during the winter months, it's really difficult to assess how what the condition of a tree is regarding, its health. And certainly home inspectors, we're not arborists, we're not in the tree business, but it's something that we want to bring attention to. Any trees that are growing close to the home that can negatively impact, the structure of the house. So these trees are far enough away. I'm just going to make a note that they're there. And to the client, I'm going to have them understand, take a look at these trees during the springtime and summer months to make sure that they blossom again, that they're healthy, and they can always have a tree surgeon come in, to take a look at those trees during the spring and the summer. But right now, I'm not overly concerned about the trees because we have all of this area here in the front yard. They're not going to present an imminent danger to the house or to the occupants of the home. One of the major things that home inspectors look for on the outside of the home is the grading around the outside of the home. And when I'm talking about grading, I'm talking about what does the ground look like around the home. We want to see a nice gentle slope away from all of the foundation walls because that's going to direct our water away from the exterior walls and to help prevent, hopefully, any water seepage or water infiltration problems in the basement. So this grading right here is a little bit too flat, or what we call neutral, and we don't have that nice slope away from this foundation block wall here. So this is something that we're going to report on. There's always improvements to be made around the exterior of the home regarding grading, and grading is crucially important. the better job we do at the grading and water controls, the better job we do at keeping water out of the basement or crawl space, sort of, whatever we have in this home. So make sure that the house you're buying has a nice exterior grade where water will be directed away from the foundation walls, so any wind-driven rain is not going to collect towards the walls. And even worse yet, we don't want to see a negative grade which is going to direct water towards the foundation of the walls. Here we have a neutral grade, not horrendous, but certainly can be better. We have a front entry steps and porch right here. So generally with a step or outside step area, we have 1, 2, 3 stairs here. So we actually 2 steps and then a porch or a landing. But most insurance companies are going to require a handrail be installed here and a guardrail be installed here. So any area that's within 30 inches or over 30 inches of the ground, like right here, we should have a guardrail, and any set of steps, any porch with 3 risers or more should have a handrail. Now, what I've found also is insurance companies, even with 2 steps right there, like here, and a porch, are going to require a handrail to be installed. So we're going to recommend a handrail because the insurance companies right now are very, very conservative. They'll actually send inspectors out to take pictures of any liability issues, and certainly this is something that can be flagged by the insurance company. So if you're thinking about buying a home and it has no front handrail, check with your insurance company to make sure that one is not going to be required, because sometimes these rails, professionally installed rails, can be quite expensive. What we have here on the exterior of the home, now this is a block foundation wall, and this right here is like a stucco coating. It's called a parge or a cement coating, and this is basically the skin of the wall. And what happens over time is that small cracks develop, water gets in, and it pops this exterior cement coating loose, like we have here on this block wall. So this area of the foundation wall is naked, and then we have a covering on the majority of the foundation wall over to the right side here. So this is not a major structural problem or event or anything to be overly worried about. But we're going to make a note that this cement coating should be continuous, and we do want to make sure that this is properly applied. So this is our first line measure of protection from any water that penetrates in here. So this is like the skin of the wall. And it's very thin. It's only about a 1/4 inch thick. And you can see that it's easy to kind of flake off. So the recommendation here is to replace that cement coating all the way through so we don't have a naked block wall. Here we see on the opposite side of the foundation too, that our block wall is got this cement coating, and what happens is water gets behind it. This is, you guys can see it, it's just a thin coating of cement. It's very brittle. So that really should be replaced. I'm going to recommend replacement of that. Not overly expensive. A masonry contractor can do that. And a lot of times these cement coatings are applied too thin, and they're usually not over wire, and there's not really a good lack of preparation. There is kind of a lack of preparation when that is applied. So when water gets behind it, it just simply pops it loose like we see here. So over the spring cycles, over the freezing cycles, this is just going to get worse over time. Again, not a major structural concern, but something that's noteworthy and will bring to the attention of the client. One of the things, of course, we look at is the exterior of the chimney on a home. And I'm looking at this chimney, and I don't really see a properly configured chimney crown. And a chimney crown is the mortar or the built-up cement structure at the top of the chimney that is designed to direct water from the flat surface that's up there. And so what we don't want is water collecting at the chimney top, and we don't want to have water streaming down the chimney sides where that can cause damage. So I'm looking here, it looks like we have some fresh mortar. So I think that they had a recent repointing of the chimney top. But what they should have done is actually reconfigure or reconstruct the chimney crown, and that's there to direct water away from the top of the chimney for sure. So we're going to make a note of that. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with its look, this looks like it's the heating chimney. And it looks like at the top we have a liner inside that chimney, so most likely that liner has been replaced with the installation of a newer boiler or furnace, and that's very important. So make sure you guys are looking at the exterior of your chimneys. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but up here there's some soot residue on the bottom of that chimney, the rain hat on this flue right here. So I'm not sure you can see it, but there is some black soot right there. So we do know that we have an oil-fired boiler in the home, and that black soot can be an indication that we have improper combustion or sort of a puffback condition. And it generally means that we have a boiler that's not working up to its efficiency or safely. Now, this could be an old issue. So we're going to definitely, obviously the heat's on, it's cold today, but we're going to make sure that we find and we look at the boiler's operation to make sure that there's nothing really glaringly wrong, or the boiler is, putting soot out here when it's operating. So always look for this soot on the top of your chimney or chimney liner cap at the top of the chimney, and just to make sure, especially if you have an oil-fired heating equipment, that's very important. This is our exterior air conditioning unit in the house that we're inspecting today. And obviously we can't test this during the winter months. So that's one of the problems with buying a home in the winter, is that we cannot test the air conditioning unit at all. But we can give you some information regarding this unit. And also the reason we can't test is because the oil in the compressor will thicken when it's cold like this. And that oil may not lubricate properly, causing damage to the compressor if we operate the unit in the wintertime. Also, there can be potential where Freon gas or the refrigerant does not flow correctly in the winter months, causing damage to the unit. But one of the things that we can do is give our client an idea of the age of the unit. So this is a Goodman unit right here. We see that here on the label. And if we look over here to the serial number, doing this for quite a long time, I know that Goodman uses the first two digits of the serial number for its date code. So this unit is a 2009 unit, and generally these exterior units in New Jersey are going to have a life expectancy of around 10 to 15 years. So we're going to let our client know that, hey, the unit's been manufactured in 2009. I always take a picture of this data plate in case the client has any questions. So that's one of the things we can do as home inspectors in the winter. We can always also check the lines. We can make sure that everything is looking good, that our insulation on our suction line looks good. We can look at our disconnect, which is over here, to make sure that looks good. Sometimes these are very challenging to remove. I need a tool to get that off. But in here, there'll be a fuse, a disconnect that you take out when service work is being done on the air conditioner, so that the unit doesn't inadvertently come on when service is being performed, so it's safe for the technician. So every exterior air conditioning unit must have a disconnect, and we see that's well secured to the house here. But we're quite limited on what we can do as home inspectors in the winter, regarding air conditioning testing. And one of the things that you guys can do when you're buying a home in the winter is talk to your attorney about how they may approach the inability or testing of the air conditioning unit. Maybe they can keep money in escrow, and you guys can test the unit in the spring, late spring or early summer, and you keep that money in escrow. Or maybe the owner of the home can provide some type of warranty, or at least some paperwork, official documentation that the unit was operational before the start of the winter months. I generally I'm not a big fan of window wells, but Of course, we need window wells. And over here, this is an egress window with an egress window well. And we see a couple of steps here. In case there was a fire, somebody can come out, go up these steps and to safety. But do you see how close this casement window is to the ground? So any water that were to collect inside here could actually seep in and cause damage to our interior or possibly some mold growth. So here I would like to see a little bit deeper of a window well with possibly a drain system at the bottom to direct our water out of this vulnerable area. So this is something that is important to look at, of course. We can't really cover this because we want to make sure that a person, in the event of an emergency, can quickly escape. And if there's a cover here, that may hinder their escape route. But over here, down inside the basement, we're going to be looking for any kind of water penetration around this basement casement egress window. And generally, I like to see some type of drain system. There is some gravel, but during really heavy torrential rain, I usually find that these windows can leak. This is an exterior basement window, same house. And one of the things that we want to bring to light is that the window is very close to the ground. So any window that's within 6 inches of the grade should have a window well. And what does a window well do? It helps us direct our soil away from the window so our soil doesn't encroach on the window. So the window well is generally a metal half moon type of structure that acts as a retaining wall. So it allows us to slope our soil away without that soil getting close to our windowsill, our exterior windowsill. And if we look closely here, this wood is very soft. I could put my finger directly through the wood. And if you look close here, this is actually termite mud. So we do have some termites attacking this exterior windowsill, and that's definitely going to have to be replaced. And if the home hasn't had a recent termite treatment, we definitely need to recommend a termite treatment here, which is a complete barrier treatment around the exterior of the home. So even on the outside of the house, sometimes you can see some termite damage here. It's not readily prevalent in a lot of homes. Generally, the termite damage is going to be inside and not outside. But here, because our windowsill is directly on the soil, that's giving our termites the ability to find this wood structure and to cause damage to it. So this is something that definitely is going to have to be replaced, and most likely a proper termite treatment performed in the home. I'm inside the same home now, and this is that egress window that we found where the casement is very low to this level of the ground here. And we see what we have. We have some what probably is mold coming through the wall here. We have this is rusting of our corner bead, and this area has been patched. It looks like it's been patched a couple of times. So this window well is allowing water to come into the basement. And this is something that for sure is going to have to be corrected. This is going to have to be opened up a little bit because we don't want this black mold here. If there's black mold visible here, it's more likely to be actually visible behind the wall as well. And you definitely don't want that in your house because some of that can be actually a health hazard. So look for these basement window wells. Make sure that they drain properly. This one, of course, does have an issue. I didn't really expect this type of problem when I came down to the basement, but here we do have an issue that we definitely need to alert our client to. I'm not sure if they saw this during their walkthrough of the house, but be careful of these low to the ground basement windows. Guys, that was just a brief overview of some of the problems that we found on the exterior of this house today and a problem that we found on the interior of the home. But there are literally thousands of problems that a qualified home inspector is going to look for in the home that you're thinking about buying. So look, you're spending a fortune on a home in New Jersey. Even a house like this is basically what you would consider a starter home. And this house is probably $500,000 or $600,000. So things are crazy out there. So make sure you hire a qualified home inspector. Do your due diligence. before you hire a home inspector and make sure that they are qualified and have years and years of experience in inspecting homes. So that's it for me today. I hope that you found this somewhat useful. Reach out if you have any questions. John from LookSmart Home Inspections.